my husband Tyler. And if you follow me on Instagram, by the way, my Instagram is @itsbrooklyn. You would have seen that we are expecting our third baby. We have not been super active on here.
Like at all.
Yeah, we've kind of just been posting like every time a baby's been born, which is, like every year?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. So we're going to actually be posting throughout the journey a little bit more and giving more about our lives in general, because there's been a lot of life lived since the last time a video got posted.
You can definitely say that.
So I posted on my story asking for questions just about the pregnancy and about our third baby. That way we can answer some of them. So we're gonna answer a couple of those questions that were asked on Instagram. By the way, if you have more questions, please feel free to send a DM or even leave comments, and maybe we'll make a video about that question. So one of the first questions is, are we nervous about going from 2 to 3 kids?
You want me to take that first?
Yeah. Or we can take turns.
Sure. Okay. Yes and no. I know there have definitely been people saying like, 2 and then 3, like 3 is like a completely different experience. So I don't know. It's just more of a roll the punches kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of been my disposition towards it all. It's okay. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes. Like I'm not scared or anything. Oh, are you scared?
Not really.
Okay, yeah. We're not scared or anything. It's just like we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been in baby mode since Ty was born. So that was 2020. We've been in diaper changing and nursing. Yeah. I've literally been breastfeeding since Ty was born in 2020. So like some of those things are just not like, it's just not a big deal to me right now. But there's also the point that's like, okay, it's gonna be more kids than adults in the house, which I'm like, oh, that's a lot. But we both come from families with 3+ children. I'm the eldest of 3. Tyler is the eldest of 9.
Yeah.
So we both are used to, having a van or like a lot more kids than adults.
But I'm not in a rush to get a van.
No, and we're not saying we're going to have 9 kids either. Like, we're not saying that. But we're used to that kind of thing, I suppose. And so it's not like super foreign, like, oh, 3 kids, oh my goodness. Like, it doesn't seem that big of a deal. But granted, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be an adjustment period to, dealing with the needs of 3 kids and then the different stages of the 3 of them, like Ty getting more into like the child stage, Layla more in the toddler stage, and then the new baby. So yeah, I think it's just more so like us having to learn and adjust with a new season.
We're definitely still kind of adjusting to like the 2 too, because like they're growing so quick.
Yeah. It's
ridiculous. At first, like the gap was like so huge, but now they're starting to act very similar to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, there's a whole experience.
Yeah. All right. Another question is, was this baby planned or a surprise? What would you say?
Well, I wouldn't say the baby was a surprise.
Yeah, we weren't surprised, but it wasn't precisely planned.
Yeah,
Is that the best way to word it?
I'm gonna be a little bit I guess there's no other way to say this. So like, when you do certain things happen is something that we've heard before.
So at some point, if you're like, oh, I'm late, it's not like, what could this mean? You kind of can assume.
But, I mean, there's also like a testimony that goes along with that too, though, because
yes.
And I'm sure we'll make another video about it. Like, you guys know, we just moved like across the country, and like that was a really big faith move. But even with that, like I had started a new job, and basically I just prayed to the Lord, and I asked that certain things just kind of be in place, and I would just trust Him to take care of the rest of it, and it worked out like to the T. Like what I prayed. I'm actually really looking forward to making that video and like kind of delving into that. So
I think that'd be part of the whole moving testimony that we could probably include that in.
Probably
that
for
way
sure.
That'll be coming soon as well.
Yeah. So yeah, just go ahead and subscribe and just like I guess wait. They that wait. No, okay. But anyway.
Okay. So another question we got a lot of questions about the gender. So if we know the gender, if we're going to find out the gender, and if we have a preference on the gender. So we do not know the gender, and we are not finding out until the baby's born.
Yeah.
So my thing was, we have a boy, we have a girl. I would be okay with a surprise this time. Like I'm not feeling like super inclined either way. I'm not feeling like, oh, I really want, I'm.
She had to talk me into that because at first I was like, what do you mean?
I'm really just like, whatever. I really look forward to giving birth and being able to say, oh, it's a girl or it's a boy, and being able to surprise all of our family and friends with the news. So I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, that was definitely her idea at first because if anybody really knows me, they know I like to, like, I'm not super duper like organized, but like I kind of like to remove guesswork if I can. So when she first brought it up, I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I was like, all right, you know what? You're right. She made a very logical argument regarding it. It was like, oh, we have a boy, we have a girl. So I was like, okay, I'll be down for the ride. So we're just waiting. I just referred to her belly as baby. And I guess I will for the rest
baby.
Of the pregnancy.
So I guess in that sense, we're referring to the baby as baby.
Ooh, do you have a preference?
Do you have a preference on what the baby is? No, not really.
Not really.
Mm-mm. Some days I think it would be nice to see Ty with two little sisters, and then sometimes I'm like, I really want him to have the brother experience. I grew up with my sister and I, and then my brother. So part of me wants Layla to have that experience of little sister. Sometimes I want her to have a little brother. Like I really go back and forth. So I think either way I'll be happy. I know people say that, but like I actually really think I'd be happy. I don't know. I don't, this time with the other two, I really did want to have them the way they were. You know, I wanted a boy and then I wanted a girl. This time I'm like, whatever.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about being outnumbered. But I will be happy either way. Like I'm not gonna be mad like it comes out a girl. I would absolutely be happy if it's a girl. But I don't know how I feel about being outnumbered.
So another question was, have we thought about names? We will not be sharing the name until the baby's born, but we do have, I think we have a pretty solid idea of what we would name the baby, if it's a boy or a girl. Granted, I really do want to look at the baby and make sure the baby looks like the name. You know, some people don't look like their name, and it's like, You know, you gotta look like your name. I want the baby to look like the names that we have. So
right.
I gotta look at him or her and be like, yeah, this works for you. Or if it doesn't work, then we'll have to go down the list. Because we have, a couple names we like. So
what are we gonna do if the baby look like a Methuselah? Are we gonna name him Methuselah?
I'm not naming my baby Methuselah. That I love a Bible name, but some Bible names are just not gonna. That's just not
or like none. None Hicks Nelson.
None.
I feel like you gotta say that with like a southern drawl. None. Anyway,
I think that baby would get teased a lot. Bless his heart.
Your business.
Okay. Another question is how far along I am and if we know the due date.
Yes, we know the due date.
Kind of.
So
I'll explain that. With home birth care, by the way, I am having a home birth. Got a couple questions about that, kind of answering it now, whatever. The plan is a home birth, but with home birth care, it tends to be more on the holistic side. So you don't get ultrasounds early in the pregnancy the way you traditionally get, say, one at 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever to confirm the pregnancy. So we didn't have an ultrasound, up until basically I was almost in the second trimester. We still haven't had an ultrasound, but we heard the baby's heartbeat on a Doppler. So typically what they'll do is they'll tell you your approximate due date when you get that ultrasound in the beginning. So we think it's possible that my due date might be kind of off, but we don't know for sure. And it's kind of hard for it to be accurate at this point because it's not super early in the pregnancy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's around this time if the baby comes a little sooner, I wouldn't be shocked. If the baby comes on that date, I wouldn't be shocked either. But even now, when people ask to do that, I'm like, it's kind of around here. We're gonna see. But basically,
like, give or take 15, 20 days.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that region.
Give or take.
I mean, the other two came like around 39 weeks and like a couple days. So
yeah, they were like maybe a day or so off of their due dates.
I think Ty was a day early.
Yeah.
And then Layla was like 4 days.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought she was like 2.
No, I think she was like 39 and 3.
Well, you be knowing.
Something like that. But basically they come around on time. So I'm like, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think it's something about the third baby we're really just like, we'll see what happens. But
the way Layla came was so funny too.
But approximate time, we'll say, is it's definitely the summer.
Yeah, it's in the summertime.
Not late summer. So if I get real quiet sometime in the summer, it's probably because I had a baby. We'll see.
Good answer. Good answer, Steve.
At the same time, you don't necessarily want like people trying to guess the due date and be like, "Ooh, girl, you look so big for that due date." So I'm like,
I think that's just one of them things you don't say.
Because people will say, I'll see comments like, "Girl, you sure you're not having twins? You so big," and I'm like,
"Thank you."
Like, y'all better than me because
why are you saying this to me
on the internet? Like, have some shame and delete the comment. And so someone asked for any tips for first time pregnancy. I would definitely say take a lot of pictures because you'll never be pregnant with your first again. Like, that's such an amazing experience. You want to get all the pictures.
Sage wisdom, yes.
No, take a lot of pictures. Take pictures at the hospital, take pictures of the baby, take pictures of little toes, take a video of the kicks when they start getting real intense and you can see them through your clothes, that type of stuff. Take all the pictures and videos. I would say definitely have an idea of the people you would like to be helping you after you give birth, because I think sometimes you don't really need as much help, but you never know what the circumstances of the birth will be like and how weak you might be physically or how exhausted you might be or how exhausted your husband might be, all those things. And so if you can have a village around you, I would definitely say make sure you reach out to them in advance so that they can plan and know that the baby's due around this time, that they might be needing to get in the car and drive to your house, whatever. Yeah. I would also tell them to cook for you because you might not want to cook. You probably shouldn't be cooking in the first couple days after you're giving birth. I wouldn't suggest doing that. So if you can have some people who can make you some really good food and you can have it in your fridge or your freezer. Another thing you can do for yourself is prep meals. You can freeze pasta or rice or whatever and have it in your freezer. Eat that afterwards because breastfeeding that'll make you really hungry and you don't want to eat junk food right after you have a baby. So
that's really
definitely praying because anxiety is real. You'll see things on the internet about different people's circumstances and stories and you might absorb them. And I did that a lot where I would read stories and start to stay up all night worrying about what could happen with my children. And granted, you do want to be aware, if something's wrong, like this could mean this or this could mean that, and being able to bring it up to your care provider, but you also don't want to dwell on all that could go wrong because at the end of the day, the Lord can take care of you and his plans for you are good. And you don't need to absorb all the possibilities of this can happen and that can happen, because if your mind is constantly dwelling on that, you're not going to really enjoy your pregnancy. You're not going to savor all of the beautiful changes you're experiencing, and you'll convince yourself something's wrong when something might not even be wrong. But at the same time, I would say if you do feel like something's wrong, don't be afraid to bring it up to somebody. So if you have a midwife, it's okay to text your midwife and say, "Hey, I haven't been feeling baby kicking as much. I'm a little nervous about it," and let her reassure you or let her give you some tips or whatever if you're feeling a pain. Because those pains and aches are real and sometimes they can be a bit concerning. But sometimes it could just be you're dehydrated, you just need some water, or you're hungry, or in my case I've been breastfeeding through the past 2 pregnancies, so there might be some cramping from that, or you might feel a little off and it's just a matter of needing to drink some water. So speaking of that, I'm gonna drink some water. But yeah, so advocate for yourself, but don't dwell on all the possibilities of negative things, and dwell on scripture instead. You know, trust in the Lord through the pregnancy, because at the end of the day, God loves your baby even more than you do. And that's something that is hard to remember as a mom, because you're like, I love this baby more than anyone in the world does. You know, like, this is my baby, I'm mama bear, but God has both you and baby in his hands. So
that's good. So thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you think somebody would benefit from, I guess, watching the video, you can share it. And make sure you subscribe if you already have it and turn those notifications on, because we're going to be super active.